Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Small Cap Discoveries conference call. Today on our call, we have CEO Cheryl Grant of VPI Products, Inc. VPI trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol VPI and in the US under VPRIF. The company is trading at 30 cents with roughly 35 million shares outstanding, or about an $11 million market cap. I'd now like to hand it over to Paul Andriola.
Hey, great. Thanks, Trevor. Yeah, excited to have Cheryl here with us. As you all know, we've recently found out about VPI Products and have been fortunate enough to be able to get access to a financing for the company. We've got Cheryl Grant here, CEO. Happy to have you here, Cheryl, and I understand you've got a presentation for us, so I'm just going to hand it over to you.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Trevor. Hi, everyone. I am Cheryl Grant. I am the president of VPI Products. We're a Canadian-made natural line of vitamins and supplements sold throughout Canada and expanding into the United States. So today I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the company, a presentation that we have here, and give you a better view into what we're currently up to. So I'm just going to share screen with you. Hopefully that looks good on that side.
Looks great.
Fantastic. Great. So VPI, as Trevor mentioned, is traded on the TSX.V under trading symbol VPI. We are starting to tell more about our story. The VPI story is local to Vancouver, Canada. And I always call us a startup with history. So some of the things that I go through today, you'll start to understand when we see that we have a lot of opportunity and growth ahead. Basically, myself and Doug Grant, who's my sibling, came together about 7 years ago and revitalized the VPI name and brought it back into the marketplace. So we started at $0 and zero stores, $0 in sales. And I'm going to walk you through the journey that we've been on and where we're headed to. So VPI is an emerging leader in the natural health space, and this is a really exciting opportunity, as well as an exciting industry. Natural health is exploding. We're seeing that in everything from plant-based foods, the vegan lifestyle, as well as people have really come into the natural health supplement space, especially with COVID-19. We were already on a growth trend before that, and it's just exploded and accelerated in growth. So we really see ourselves as a future leader in the space of natural health. Our award-winning line of VPI is becoming very recognized and known within Canada and elsewhere. We are a manufacturer, marketer, distributor of natural health products, and currently our key focus is VPI. VPI has won awards over the last 5 years. Including this year in 2020, we were recognized with 5 Alive Awards. Alive Awards are considered to be the top in the industry in Canada, and that also includes a few of our products I'll jump into later in the presentation. But one of the things that we did win was 2 of the awards, both the retailer choice as well as the consumer choice for best new supplements. So when I talk about us as an emerging leader, it's our products and also the footsteps that we're taking into the marketplace. As I mentioned, we're Canadian made. That actually means a lot in the international marketplace as well as locally. We're one of the only female-led natural health companies in Canada. And that's actually important because our target market and the largest buying group is women, so very important. And we've established an amazing base of natural health retailers, over 600 of them in Canada, including some of the top retailers, Whole Foods Canada, A Healthy Planet, and others that I'll go into and part of our growth story. We were started off a few years ago, like I said, with 4 products. We introduced our 5th product, what we call our Lion Power Iron. And in the last 6 months, we've actually doubled our product line to over 10 products under the VPI line. And we also aggressively went after the introduction of a new product line called VPI Glow, which is an elevated beauty supplement. So very positive steps that we've continued to take as a small company, and really shown that we're punching above our weight in the category. We've had 553% increase in growth over the last 5 years, which is basically 45% 5-year compounded annual growth rate. So like I say, we're feeling very, very positive about where we're currently positioned and our opportunity as we move forward. Just a little bit about our market share. There's currently 35.4 million shares outstanding. Over 50% of those are held by insiders. And on yesterday's close of the market, the stock price was at 33.5 cents, which is about an 11 million market cap. One of the things that we're really excited about is in October, we did a private placement of $500,000, and our stock was trading at the time at about 10 to 12 cents, and we raised the capital at 16 cents. So the investors saw the value that Vitality would come to see. So 6 months later, on March 17th, we announced a private placement of $500,000 at 17 cents a unit. And due to demand, we've actually increased that to a 6 million. Last week, we moved that up to 6 million shares, or excuse me, units, at 17 cents a unit. And so we're very optimistic about what our growth pattern will look like as a properly capitalized and ability to grow. A little bit about the leadership team. As I mentioned, my name is Cheryl Grant. I am the president and CEO of Vitality. My background is I'm a brand builder. I've come from large organizations, working within TELUS, as well as Best Buy Canada, overseeing brand reputation, public relations, as well as marketing. So I've had a lot of insights into growing to be a market leader. And so we brought that together with Doug, who's our vice president and CFO. Doug's background is heavy in finance, and he also has a EMBA from Queen's Cornell, is a CPA and CMA. So a really nice blend within our management team. And we recently had Colby Fackler join us as our Chief Operating Officer. And we're really excited about Colby joining us, primarily because Colby's been on the board for 5 years, but he's come over to us from the Whitecaps FC, where he oversaw a team of 35 and brought in online subscription models for ticketing sales. And so we see this as part of our growth step. So that's the core leadership team. We're supported by a strong leadership across CPG and finance. Rick Gannon, who serves on our board, was the past vice president in sales, overseeing a 500 million sales line in North America and Asia for Kraft Canada and Nabisco brands. Brian Gessner, who's from BMO, private banking. Bruce McDonald, also an executive from CPG. And Stuart Pennington, one of our directors who's oversaw franchise expansion. So a very strong leadership team for the growth of Vitality. Touching on some of our highlights is the fact that our product margin is large. We have a 70% gross margin on our natural health products. When we compare to an industry leader in the natural health space, most vitamins and supplements are seeing around a 36% gross margin. Why this is important is it shows how unique our product is to demand the price, and also how well we've been at building and manufacturing and controlling our costs. So a 70% gross margin, a year-over-year growth over the basically 5+ years now. And you'll see that on the side there. Already, we don't have our fourth quarter reported for this year, but basically third quarter results after 9 months nearly almost matched that of last year's annual revenue. We currently have 11 products in the marketplace. When I talk about Vitality being a startup with a history, is we actually have 101 product formulations, and those have been approved by Health Canada. Those are very expensive to formulate, receive product licensing for, and what that cost is on our books is $0. So it's actually something that is recognized around the world, that Canadian health products are among the top in the leader. So the fact that we only have 11 in the marketplace and the ability to bring in more products shows the ability for the growth of the company. And I'll come back to that a little later. The other thing I want to talk about is our online sales. Within this last year, we saw a 400% increase in sales, and that's primarily driven by online on Amazon.ca and .com in the US. We entered just before COVID into the US, and we really saw that opportunity of growth in a very short time frame. So Vitality is a growth company in a growth industry, and we're very excited about the future. Just a couple of notes there. We've built a strong brand reputation. You'll see up in the corner there, Clean Choice Award, and Clean Choice is recognized in the US, again, for top products, and we received Top Energy Product North America for our Power Iron. Some of the stores that I've mentioned, we're in all of the Whole Foods across Canada. We're with Amazon. In terms of distribution is our growth ability through one of the largest natural health distributors in Canada. And we've also been recognized by the Canadian government, by the NRC IRAP, with over $500,000 of funding towards our growth in the last 4 years. So all kinds of great opportunities for Vitality. So what is the size of the supplements industry? We talked a little bit about Vitality, but why do we see such great opportunity? And when we look at it, we talk about the market size of vitamins and supplements. And I am really talking about vitamins and supplements here. And right now, the market value expected in 2021 will be over 150 billion US dollars internationally, and that is expected to grow to $272 billion within 7 years. So you can see that growth rate there is extensive, and our neighbor, the United States, is the largest market in the world for vitamins and supplements. They're tracking right now at over 50 billion a year, so almost currently a third of the world's market is right in the United States for vitamins and supplements. And part of that is changing lifestyle. A lot of people are becoming more and more aware of a hectic lifestyle, the need for nutrition. COVID has only accelerated that because people see the importance of taking care of their health, their immunity, and so forth. So we're very excited about the market opportunity because all of our products play perfectly within that. And we're neighbors to the United States. So we also have all of our current 11 products FDA registered. So the potential for growth is large. So where are our growth pillars? I've talked quite a bit about growth, and one of the first things we're going to talk about is retail. I call that part of our core. It was our foundation. We decided to focus on retail for reputation. It's the hardest area to get into. You have to punch holes into the shelves, and that's really what Vitality did with our first products. We punched holes into the shelves and showcased ourselves by repeated sales at those stores and grew revenue. And we continue to introduce products. So we have over 600 relationships across Canada, and we've yet to enter into the United States. And again, when you think about those reputations, we doubled our product line. So what does that look like in the upcoming year to 2 years for sales growth alone, as those products have just started into the marketplace in the last few months? When I mentioned the new stores, we have 600 in Canada. There's over 7,000 potentials in just the natural health space in the United States. Amazon, of course, is one of the fastest growing platforms. It is the largest platform for sales in North America. Again, 400% growth in 2020 for online sales. And what had been basically a zero for international sales turned into 10% of our revenue in 2020 just through the online sales in Amazon, which were just starting. So we see huge opportunity for growth in Amazon, and transformational to our business is actually going to be online with vitality.ca. We currently have the ability for people to come to our site and order, but one of the things we're going to be adding, and part of the work of Colby and his soon-to-be team that he's building, is around the subscription model. This is a reoccurring revenue source that we actually can connect with our customers, ship direct to them, and also start to communicate with them as we build sales. So this is repeatable revenue, and it's something that we'll be introducing in both Canada. We always start in our backyard and then expand internationally and into the United States. We will look at international markets, as I've already talked about the United States, but we're also looking at opportunities in Asia right now for the export of our products overseas in the upcoming timeframe. And of course, the next area of growth for us is around product introduction and assortment. So these are sort of the growth pillars that we're committing to see growth in the upcoming while. So who's Vitality's customer? I always like to let people know this. The supplements industry is primarily driven by women. So when you think about a $150 billion industry, the primary purchasers are women. Actually, women aged 30 to 54, which I fall in that category, are purchasing almost 80% or contributing to 80% of the sales. So we've really looking at this market and how to grow, and why they're so influential is the fact that they influence their families, whether it's for their own family members or their parents as they're aging, to keep them healthy and well. So these are really where we're focused on, is connecting with these digitally connected consumers. And so that plays really well into them. And part of that is understanding their journey. And one of the things women do is we buy in the store when it's convenient. We like to have subscription, and we'll always check a better price. So being in retail, Amazon, as well as on vitality.ca won't cannibalize any of the channels, but actually enhance them. So that's part of our strategy going forward as well. Just a quick overview of what does that look like. This is our top selling product, our Power Iron Plus Organic Spirulina. The market size, it accounts for currently about 50% of our revenue. Expect that to change with our new products. But what's interesting here is 25% of the world's population is actually iron deficient. And what that means is challenge to get oxygen through the body. And so it impacts everything from your energy right to your heart health, because you're pumping harder to get oxygen through the body. So this is a common problem amongst women, and actually in developed and developing countries. And when I say that, over 35% of all iron supplement sales are in the United States. So you can see that that's one of the leading markets in the world, and that current value of the US is about $3 billion right now, and also continuing to grow. So if we were to achieve even 1% of iron supplement sales in North America, we would be looking at $10 million of annual revenue. That's US dollars. I'm going to quickly actually show you how we appeal to the marketplace. This is actually a very short video. It's a consumer facing one, and it's a digital one, and it's running in digital ads starting in the next week or two here. So it'll give you an idea of the consumer and how we market Vitality to reach that customer base.
Creator, friend, mother, you are vital. Leader, daughter, creator, friend, mother, you are vital. But you can't be a powerhouse when your iron deficiency brings your grind to a halt. Vitality Power Iron Plus Organic Spirulina blends science and nature to boost your iron, energy, and mood. Female-led and locally made in BC for women like you. Vitality's award-winning Power Iron Plus Organic Spirulina can change your life. Pick it up today at natural health food stores or vitality.ca. Vitality, naturally you.
So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of Vitality and the target market we're going after. Women want to connect to the brands that they purchase, and one of the easiest ways for us to connect with them is providing solutions and also making it relatable to their lifestyle. So we feel we have a very good opportunity connecting there. Why is Vitality important as well within this marketplace? And one of the biggest things that we see is that smaller brands are outpacing larger brands right now for sales growth. We look at our market leaders or competitors. I mentioned that their gross margins are lower, substantially lower. And the other thing that's happening is the pace of sales growth is very different. So this is from our previous fiscal year results compared to, this is actually Jameson, the market leader in Canada. And Vitality sales growth was 26% for the year. The market leader was 1%. And that was part of, I should say, their what they call their competitive lines to Vitality. So the Lorna, Vander Hags, and others. So these are really the competitors on the shelves that we compete with. And so smaller brands become very interesting to larger brands because what they see is the growth opportunity. They come in with innovative products and they connect with consumers. And so that's really one of the things that's of value to Vitality. And there's a growth chart there on the side. And what you can see is basically 3 years of, first on the left-hand side there, of a single A account, right up to on the right-hand side there is about a chain of 8 stores, and what those revenue look like in the first year, second, and third year. And this is just one product. This is the Power Iron. So what you can learn from that is when you bring in a new brand, there's of course an adoption time frame, and you're either off the shelf or you grow. And we've continued to grow year over year at those stores. And why that's important is what we just saw with Whole Foods Canada. It took us several years to get our first products on the shelf. And then when we presented our new line, all 6 products that we've just introduced, they were all listed for space on the shelf and for sales. So that's part of the growth opportunity within a smaller brand that's innovating, award-winning, and it's catching the attention of our consumers. So these are very positive things for Vitality currently and in our future. Just mention quickly, our foundation is in retail. 26% of all sales in the natural health space are accounted for at the natural health retailer, not in mass, but actually in the health natural mom. Everyone thinks mom and pop, but they actually are the drivers, and they're also some of the more sophisticated stores, including the Whole Foods, Choices, Healthy Planets in Canada, for those of you who are joining us from outside of Canada. But these are actually, they have a higher educated retail base, so they're training the customer, they're interested in education, and they usually have designations as well. So a lot of people go to them for that. The Canadian supplement space is 1.5 billion currently. As I mentioned, the US is 50 billion in sales. So the opportunity for us is quite large. And again, over 25% of that is just occurring at the natural health retailer. E-commerce is the fastest growing sales channel and one we're aggressively going into. COVID accelerated this channel for sure, but also it's very lucrative because it's a small product that ships easy and is very lightweight. And so this is, and also has a long shelf life. Most of our products have a 2 to 3 year shelf life. So again, very popular for shipping from companies like Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, over 200 million unique users to Amazon.com in the US. So we see this as a really large opportunity to connect with customers. One of the key things for us is keeping our pricing consistent across the channels. That's when you have cannibalization occur. And that's one of the top things that the management team will be focused on. And again, I talked about Vitality.ca in the fact that we will be introducing the subscription model to continue to grow that. And I should mention a lot of our retailers are also becoming quite sophisticated with their own online channels for e-commerce. So e-commerce will just continue to grow on both bases there. The digitally connected customer, we're shipping right now around the world. These are just some of the places that people have found us either through recommendation or their own searching. We haven't done any targeted advertising. So shipping to Asia, Europe, Australia, into the United States, and we've just begun. So we really see that this is going to be an exciting time ahead as we start connecting more and more with customers. And we've just brought on Stingray and Acuity Ads in Canada to do some tester marketing for us, and they're performing well. And we're expected to continue to grow that out in the next 6 months to a year here, and from those results, grow it from there. I mentioned that Vitality is a growing product line. We started with 4 products in the key natural health products category. So like I said, we had to punch out holes. Everyone always says to me, how do you know what Vitality's benefit is? There's a wall of vitamins in front of us. Well, imagine a buyer being presented a lot of products. We have to stand out by being non-GMO. Our Vitality line is actually vegan. The Vitality Glow is not, but we compete in the leading categories: stress, sleep, immunity, and we've also started to introduce new products. Amongst them, these were the first 4. Again, like I said, those key ones. I should have mentioned the multivitamin, which grew substantially under COVID. Power Iron, our top seller, again, appealing to women. Women also, one of the key areas that they come into health is through iron supplementation. Trace Minerals we introduced this year, and we were again recognized with a Gold Alive Award as retailer choice for best new supplement entered into Canada. So this is by a third-party group that's known as the top in Canada, and they're actually recognized around the world. I've traveled to Japan even with the Canadian Trade Mission, and the Alive Award is on packages of Canadian products. So a great acknowledgement of what we're doing that's so different. In the video you heard, the best of science and nature, and Trace Minerals is an example of that with the organic chlorella mixed in there, similar to our Power Iron with organic spirulina. We introduced the Daily Iron, again, targeting teenagers, prenatal time frame, just continuing to grow in the iron section there. We also introduced magnesium and chamomile for sleep. Magnesium is the largest growing category for minerals. It's actually outpaced calcium. So huge growth opportunity here. And we did that in a powder format with chamomile, the top selling tea in the world. So again, that blending of nature and science for the best effects for customers. And we also brought in our first children's product. So we're really reaching into the cupboards to connect with families right through from mom, dad, children, and right through to the grandparents. So really expanding our reach from what we've started as more female-centric to the family as a whole. And then, of course, our Vitality Glow, which is our extension. Collagen is one of the explosive categories in natural health. And this one, again, is an ultra feminine line. It's a high price point, one of the highest in Canada. And that didn't stop our retailers from listing it or purchasing online. So we're really proud of this line. And we expect to see a lot more products coming out within it. And again, we won a Gold Alive Award for this product from Consumer Choice for Best New Product in 2020. And we actually received the Silver Alive Award for the Best New Supplement from retailers. So we actually received the gold and the silver from the retailer. So we're really proud of the new line that we've introduced, which talks a lot about our formulation and our success in product innovation and introduction. So that's kind of an overview of us. For those who'd like more background as well, we have a investor site, which is on investinvitality.com, and all of our financial statements are on there, board profiles, and even a sign up for a newsletter. And the other thing is, if you're looking for product information, pricing, things of that nature, I didn't want to go through that today. I'd rather get to Paul's questions as well as questions from the audience. So you can also go to vitality.ca if you'd like to have a better view of what the products are in detail. And I'm, of course, always happy to support and answer questions from there.
Cheryl, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Why don't we just dive right into a bunch of questions that I have? I mean, you've covered off a fair bit of it with the presentation, but why don't we talk about, so right now your addressable market is Canada. I mean, you really, predominantly sell into Canada. To go into the US, what do you still need to do, and how do you go about tackling the US market?
Sure, great question, Paul. One of the first things is the border to open. We were actually went to launch the product line last year in the United States. We were market ready, and the largest trade show in the world is actually called Expo West in Anaheim. So Vitality was set up there, and they canceled the show. So we are market ready for the retail marketplace with the product line, the FDA registrations. It threw us off, obviously, as it did several companies, and being a smaller company without large resources, we had to really focus on our core. So for us to be ready for the United States, we have product ready, we have marketing, and now we have capital coming in from the private placement. So, I think we're almost ready for the marketplace. It's a timing issue right now.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, thanks for that. We always like to talk about new products, new initiatives. I mean, you've explained some of the things, but let's try to dive a little bit deeper into them. I'm super excited about your opportunity to get into a subscription model. What do you see as the next steps to do that, and then what do you have to focus on to be successful, do you think, with the subscription model?
Great question. So one of the first things with subscription is really understanding your current customer and diving into the data. We actually are built on the Shopify platform, so we've been able to see what the customer patterns have been online. And one of the things that we really see with subscription is we're really catering to the customer. So we're starting to see, what brings them to the website, how did they get to us, what products are they purchasing, and are they coming back to purchase without being prompted. And what we've seen is we have a very consistent base of customers who are coming back. So by bringing in subscription, what that's going to be doing is allowing us to auto ship to customers and create that connection with them. The steps to get there, we're actually in that process by bringing in Colby, I mentioned, as our COO. He's already started the process of, bringing in new staff, an e-commerce manager. We're looking at, of course, all of the back ground in terms of apps and things of that nature to prompt marketing. So we're basically, focused on the acquisition and side as well with digital marketing. So there's a couple of things going on there hand in hand, but we know the steps that we need to get to. And the exciting thing about subscription is creating that that conversation with the customer, providing them top level service, and that leads to retention as well. So we see that repeatable revenue. To give you an idea, I was looking at some of the back end data on one customer, consistent orders over, 5 months or 5 times in the last year. That data of just purchasing of one product, over $500 of revenue. So how do we recreate that model over and over? So we know there's a good opportunity there, and we have the right resources now to start building that out.
Mm-hmm. And when do you think you're likely to have your first sort of customer on that platform?
We hope within 3 months that we'll have the subscription model up.
Okay, perfect.
And I should mention that's important because fall, winter is the largest sales time in the industry. So right. We'll be busy over the summer ensuring that we're ramping up for the fall sales.
Fantastic. Okay, now you touched on earlier that you have 101 NPNs or natural product numbers. Those are basically 101 different formulations. You've got 11 that you have on the shelf right now. Give us a sense of what it takes to actually get an NPN. If somebody were to start from scratch, what do you have to do to get one?
It's quite a process. We've had on our team mixture of PhD scientists, naturopathic doctors, master herbalists. You're really going to the science. With the Health Canada protocol for getting what's called an NPN or a health license, natural products number, you have to use basically back up your formulation with scientific literature. So it's not something that you can just write down a formulation and receive a license. There's quite a bit of work that goes on. So the first area is determining what kind of product you want to create. The second is then going in and reading the literature on each ingredient, showing the scientific reasoning for why you would mix individual ingredients together. And then from there, you go forward to application to Health Canada. For most of the products that we've received NPNs, it's called a non-compendial license. That means that they're a mixture of ingredients, and they take a minimum of 6 months of approval from Health Canada. So they're very challenging to receive, including we used Chinese pharmacopoeia on one of our most recent NPNs. So it requires showcasing why we're using the literature that we're using and to receive those NPNs. So we're extremely proud. An NPN for just a simple formulation as a vitamin D, that can be, a fairly quick, it's a proven, so Health Canada gives it a check. It's like, okay, vitamin D, 1000 IU, check. We know why they're applying for that. And those are usually given out within a month or two. The bulk of Vitality's NPNs are called non-compendial. So that means that we're going through the highest level of work to get our NPNs, and that's very costly to do. And again, like I said, there's no value to that shown on the balance sheet just because of accounting protocol. But like I say, a very thorough protocol put forward by Health Canada, and it's seen as one of the leaders in the world. Basically, Australia and Canada are seen as two of the leaders in the world for how we go about natural products.
Mm. So, I mean, clearly my understanding is if you wanted to put the effort and start manufacturing, you've got 101 products basically sitting on a shelf that you could pull out at any time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I always say we have, they're in the vault. So, when I started into Vitality, I went back into the vault and saw what product formulations we had, and we selected what I saw as the top contenders, and we started presenting them to the retailers. And then from there, we just continued to grow that. But what the value of that is tomorrow I could go to manufacturer and put another product into the marketplace. So as we have the capital to invest in new products, we can put them into the market. And so that's a total of 101. Would we do all of them? Who knows? But it's also for private label as well. We ourselves can put them under Vitality, and we've also been approached by other groups to start doing private label for them as well. So that's a revenue stream we haven't even entered into, but again, 101 product opportunities for ourselves or others.
So, okay, you brought up private label because that was going to be one of my other questions. Right now you have 11 products that you basically put on the shelf yourself. You manufacture and you get them on the shelf. But maybe talk a little bit more about the opportunity for private labeling for some of your potential customers, who that could be, and just what is in it for you if you go that route.
Sure. So private label, what that looks like is if someone were to approach Vitality, which they have, and we've done it in the past as well. But basically, what that means for anyone who's not familiar with that listening is that it's basically we create a product under our manufacturing, and then we label it with their name. And so some of the groups that have approached us are fairly large retailers here in Canada. Also been approached by some groups within the United States, actually, when I was at a trade show 2 years ago. So we know that there's an opportunity within that. And what that looks like for us too is if we're private labeling for another group, we may select actually, if it's not one of our current products, which we probably wouldn't private label actually some of our core leaders, but we could private label for another group and also produce and market and sell under Vitality. So there's also economies of scale there to add in new products to the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. What do we talk about your capacity? You, in essence, you contract manufacture your products right now. If all of a sudden you were to triple or quadruple in size, what any capacity constraints? What gives us a sense there?
Great question. We do contract manufacture. All of our manufacturing is done at a Health Canada site licensed facility here in the Lower Mainland of Vancouver, Canada. So we feel very strongly about being close to our manufacturing. They are, like I say, Health Canada and FDA registered and approved, as well as can ship internationally. Again, we use contract manufacturing because the size of the company, we're across tablets, capsules, powders. We'd really be looking at a minimum of $30 million revenue annually before we invested in that. That's been a question a lot of people ask about. But in terms of manufacturing capacity, we have the ability to order and receive product within about a 3 to 4 month window. The average is about 6 months, but we're a preferred partner with our contract manufacturer. And in terms of the ability to scale, we can go up to 100,000 bottles a day with our current manufacturing partners.
So you get tremendous capacity if you really needed it.
Huge,
sort of at your fingers. Yeah.
Huge capacity. The bigger problem is where do you store it all? So you got to get it out to the stores very quickly or out to the customers. But we have the ability to meet the demand. If we double, triple, quadrupled our business, we have the ability to cater and hit that.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit more on new products and initiatives. You've launched a couple new areas. It's amazing that most of the stuff that you've just launched, I see my wife has been either in line with you or ahead of you, because I see collagen and I see all these things on our shelves. But where are the trends going? Like where else do you see opportunities that you guys can tackle right now?
For sure. I think when we look at where's future growth opportunities for Vitality, we've just entered into a couple of areas here, including the powders and children's health. Children's and family are, if there's a sweet spot in the natural health market, it's really millennial moms because they're the influence of their parents and their grandparents and also their friends. And so, what we'll look at new products is things like multivitamins that suit the full family line, which seems like a known category, but actually it's a growing category. And then into the children's space and also immunity. We're going to continue to see growth within immunity as time comes. And I mentioned the introduction of the Vitality Glow, again, heavily focused to women's beauty products, and that's a huge growth opportunity within the space. And of course, there's the herbals still to come.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we get this question out of the way? We ask everybody that we get on here, but COVID obviously has changed the way business has been done. Give us a sense of what the impact is in terms of how you function as a business, but also what opportunities or what hurdles has COVID brought to you guys?
Sure. I mean, COVID's brought hurdles. One of the biggest was, obviously, I mentioned our launch into the United States. It changed that, and I'm going to say it minor delayed. I did mention we did launch on Amazon.com, but the ability to get into the stores, meet with new buyers and so forth, that of course presented a challenge, but the opportunity actually allowed us to refocus on where's growth, and that's really that online space that I talked about. We can see the consumer behavior changed, and they still were searching us out. So our retailers closed doors, unfortunately, in some areas, and our customers came online. So, you know, for us as a business, we've continued to thrive and reevaluate where our growth opportunities. And we're lucky that as a smaller company, you can pivot quickly. And so COVID's provided us actually a lot of opportunities for the future that we've identified.
Mm-hmm. And as far as manufacturing, anything like that, any issues that you deal with day to day, any protocols that have to be changed that change your business?
Sure. So in terms of protocols, you know, we're living in British Columbia, Canada. I think we have some very high guidelines, obviously, again, travel restrictions and so forth. Number one is always safety. The one thing that did happen in the manufacturing front was the slowdown, raw material shipments, processing timelines. Of course, manufacturing had to space out people, and so the production schedule didn't move as quick as we're used to. Again, we were a preferred customer, but we had to watch our inventory very closely. We actually had, you know, a super multi is a great example. The multivitamins increase with COVID was quite high. Watching the growth patterns, we were ordering another order before we got the first one in. So one of the biggest things in CPG is managing your inventory. I haven't actually talked about that, but that's actually one of the challenges, and actually is a big challenge as a growth company, is you have to invest a lot of money as a CPG, which vitamins and supplements are, consumer packaged goods, into that inventory, and making sure you don't stock out, especially as you start going through an accelerated growth trend. So that's been a big part of our management over the last year, and also making sure that we're bringing in the protocols to meet future demand as we grow under normal market conditions.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Now you raised about $500,000 in October. You've got $1 million financing that should be closing here shortly, that a number of the listeners are participating in. I noticed in the past you've spent very little money on marketing. You know, obviously capital constraint, you still managed to grow quite nicely. So I'm just you know, curious to see what your use of proceeds are. You basically get $1.5 million you know, now to spend. How are you going to spend that?
Sure, that's a great question. And as a brand builder with a marketing background, it's you can't wait for the day to spend more money on marketing and human resources. And so very excited about you know, the private placement that we did in October. The people that came into that placement had very strong understanding and want to see Vitality grow. And they're like, what can you do with money for marketing? And so with this current private placement, where we're looking to invest the funds will, of course, be into human resources. First of all, we'll be hiring up, staffing up in a couple core areas that will really grow the business. The first of that included Colby Fackler, as I mentioned, coming on as COO. He'll be building out our first e-commerce team, and also increasing the retail sales force. So that'll be one area. You know, human resources is everything in a growth of a business, and bringing the right people to your culture together. So that's a one exciting area that I'm very excited about from the capital raise. The second is the marketing side. This marketing side will be heavily focused on digital advertising, connecting with consumers. We've started that already. I mentioned Stingray Acuity advertising. It's very targeted digital advertising to our customer base. You know, my background is working in digital at TELUS and Best Buy before that. So the ability to start to bring that to market at Vitality is exciting. And the core areas we'll be investing in is social media, Facebook specifically for our target market, display and search. And the other areas that I didn't touch on outside of sort of that, those two main areas that we'll be doing is really focused on inventory. Again, if you're growing fast, if you do $1 million in sales, you have to have about $300,000 in inventory, as well as you have to have receivables. We have revenue coming in every month, but it's, you know, most payments are 30 days. So just general working capital, but a big increased focus on people and sales and marketing. So you mentioned our sales growth. We had less than 10% of our overall sales going into marketing. So this will be a huge increase for us.
Fantastic. No, and I recognize that, you know, very small amount of money you spent last year for marketing resulted in, I think it's like I saw every $8 of new revenue was generated by $1 in marketing. It is something along those lines. So obviously, if you can put more money into marketing, you should have a pretty big impact.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody at this point, if you got some questions that you would like me to ask Cheryl, just feel free to use the chat function, and I'll do my best to ask them. I mean, this is a question we always like to ask, but now you've got a little bit more capital, but you're running a small business. There's chaos all the time. But what are the one or few things that keep you up at night? What worries you about the business?
What keeps me up at night? I think for me, as always, just how do we continue to profile the business to customers, to grow with our customers. You know, we're in a very competitive landscape, and so the opportunity of growing is there, but there's others in competition with you. So, you know, as a small brand, you have to stay on your toes. So for me, definitely always thinking about our customer first and how to grow and build with them is one of the things that I think about a lot, how to best connect with them. Second is, you know, when you are bootstrapping, that's the term Doug likes to use, our CFO, you know, you are always thinking about where to put your resources. So one of the things that keeps me up at night is just always making sure, like, how do we build the company efficiently? And then how do we get to the growth phases that we want to hit? So I think we're kind of moving into that territory that we can focus on some of the more fun things.
Mm-hmm. Good. You ready to take some questions from our listeners?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let's, here we got one. Okay, so one of our listeners says, wondering about possible dilution of the Vitality branding. I just took a Vitality multivitamin, but it's a brand from Melaleuca.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're Vitality for life. In terms of brand dilution, I think, you know, at the end of the day, Vitality is, you know, one of the most popular names in natural health. But the name, the branding, the Canadian made are very unique features. And I think that, you know, we do hold the trademark for Vitality, and the stronger we come out with our marketing, the more, and also there's a name, but there's a product behind it. And, you know, it's like a power iron, Vitality power iron. People get to know your products, they get to know your name. And so we're very confident in building that brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Vitality does seem to be a popular name within the health food sector. So I guess that's a good
People
thing.
are like, oh, Vitality. Well, it's funny. Everyone's like, oh, I know Vitality. So yeah. That's what, again, it's a good thing. Like a lot of people already feel very comfortable. They connect very easily to it. Vitality is an energizing word, and you know, it's an easy way to connect with the brand. And in terms of, like I say, it's building a brand that you stand out, whether other people are using your name. It over time, you know, that challenge will move away from.
Yeah. You know, recently I heard somebody comment about getting a product on the shelf is a lot of work, but getting it to sell off the shelf is harder work. How do you incentivize retailers, or what do you do to help retailers actually move it off the shelf?
Sure, it's a great question. Yeah, getting on a shelf is a lot of work. As I mentioned, you're punching holes into the shelves, and actually that's a retailer that said that to me when we first entered into the market. They said, Cheryl, like, there's, you know, don't start. And then as they started to get to see the product line, and they were like, yeah, you've literally punched holes right into our shelves. So I've really held to that over the years, because getting onto a shelf is a lot of work. As I mentioned, 2 years, over 25 touch points with Whole Foods to get on the shelf. And then you have a window of about 6 months to prove yourself with a lot of the retailers. And then you're in the, 25% off discount bin, and the next person is coming in the door. So the ability to maintain space on the shelf is, that's what I mentioned when you said what keeps you up at night, is how do you build with a customer? And one of the things that we've been extremely successful is again, working with the natural health retailer. They are well staffed, and so they're looking for a lot of education, training support. And those are really where we invest our funds, versus, for example, large print ad campaigns or things of that nature. So when you talk about investing in marketing and sales at the beginning, it's been heavy to education. So really, you have to educate the staff so that they're familiar with Vitality and they're recommending it to their client base, because 70% of those decisions are made by recommendation of the retail staff. So we've invested heavily into that. And then you start to also push people into the retailers through the digital advertising, samples, campaigns, things of that nature. So, like I said, it is a lot of work to stay on those shelves. And when you do, it creates the opportunity when you bring forward new innovative products that they're willing to bring them onto the shelves because they've seen your performance.
Yeah. So I know we touched on this earlier during your presentation, and I even followed up with a question, but let's ask it again. How do you use the natural product numbers, and what is the cost of obtaining a single number? And then I'll follow on with another question, but I remember us talking, these are basically, call it quasi Health Canada approvals, but are you able to sort of translate that into other jurisdictions? I think you had mentioned maybe Japan or somebody else recognizes this as a high standard. Is that correct?
Yeah. So 100%. So NPN applications, we've hired in-house staff. If you consider it, we haven't used a lot of outside parties. We've always hired in-house staff to do our formulation work. However, if I were to outsource this, most applications for a simple NPN are about $2,000 to $2,500. Those are those ones that I talked about as the check mark. And then you start to move up to complicated formulas. You can be ranging inwards to, 10,000 or more, depending on what you're doing. So, I always say to people, the base of the cost alone of the NPNs could be argued to be no less than $250,000. So there's a substantial level to that. And that's why I say only large companies that are 50 million and above have the level of NPNs that we do, and we're a sub 1 million. So what's that opportunity for us is huge growth in my mind. In terms of where is it that these can be leveraged outside of Canada, is I think number one, the Canadian made is understood around the world. I was part of a trade mission to Japan and to China in 2018, and everyone understands the power of Canadian natural health products. Even our American counterparts know that the FDA is a registration of a product. There's no scientific requirement behind it. An NPN requires that. So it's a very stringent regulatory process. And so other countries, including Japan, which is the one you and I had talked about, Paul, they see that as if you receive an NPN, then you can file that product for registry in Japan. So that it shows the power of an NPN, because Japan is actually one of the, again, in the top 5 countries around the world for top purchases of natural health products. So very, very valuable. Some of the largest, fastest growing supplements in Asia, including China, again, coming out of Australia, including Blackmores is one of the market leaders there, and of course Canada. So that's when I talk about those, they're recognized in Europe, Asia, Australia even knows that Canada comes out of strong competition. So huge value in the NPNs. A lot of lack of understanding about the natural product numbers or licenses, but that's exactly what they are, is their licenses. So once we have an NPN, we can file that with the FDA, and it's basically allows us access to sell any of those products into the US as well.
Fantastic. No, and I recognized early on that was a bit of a hidden asset that really was, the market really didn't understand. So I'm
Yeah,
happy
I
to.
think a lot of people, when they see those on the books of most publicly traded companies, there's a very large value to it. And that's why I say we're sort of a startup with a history. And that's why Doug and I decided to revitalize the brand. When we saw the asset base that was there and the opportunity, it was really starting to now communicate that story. And what we did was really did the grind work to show that these products would work in the marketplace. A lot of people go and raise a lot of capital before they come into the market. We've actually done the reverse, which is, highly unusual, I'm sure, especially when we consider some of the groups of raising capital for other types of natural health products that they hope to come into the marketplace. We've actually are proven in the marketplace, including flagship stores like Whole Foods Canada, just over 8 local retailers, but US market over 400 stores there. So it adds an authority stamp when the stores with the highest requirements in the North American marketplace are saying to you that you've got a quality product. And when the retailers in Canada are voting you as top new supplements, I think we have a very strong opportunity for growth. And those NPNs, some of them, I can't wait to get them out as products on the shelf for people. We always end up in conversations with people about what products are behind there in the vault. I want to know what they are. So I'm very excited to see the company grow and bring more of those products out as well.
Yeah, no, exciting times. Certainly sounds like it. I guess this is a question regarding, marketing, but will you offer a discount or any other benefits to encourage customers to sign up for subscription?
For sure. Great question. If you actually go to vitality.ca right now, you get a 10% off welcome. So sign up with your email. So we're already starting data capture. The other thing on Vitality right now is request a free sample of some of our new products. So we've had tremendous feedback to that. We actually launched that in December, and I had to shut it off because we had it went wild on social media. Over 2,000 amazing customer opportunities within literally hours. So in terms of the website and why we're so excited about it is the fact that we know that, and that's why I say anyone on the call right now can go to vitality.ca and see both of those. With the subscription model as well, there will be specials for people. I think convenience is the number one, but number two is content, and we will do things like free gifts or early product offers, things of that nature that will encourage people to sign up and continue with Vitality. So we do a little bit of that right now, and those are always our most successful sales months when we see that, and that's what brings people back as well. We also just recently installed into vitality.ca at the checkout function, it's an upsell. So an example of that is that you might be purchasing a power iron, and as you're about to check out, you've got a 4-minute deal that you can try out a Relax on a smaller size, a 30 tab for $5.99. And what we've seen as we've introduced that in the last 2 months is the amount of uptake of people who have consistently purchased the same products over and over and over. They grab that as an upsell as they're about to check out to try out a new product. And when they come back the next time, we are seeing those products. So we've seen people who have ordered consistently for a year from us, the exact same products. And then we've done upsell techniques in the last few months. And the next thing we see is an order come through, and we're seeing a new product, one of the ones that was on an upsell. So definitely a great question. We will be using those type of opportunities to connect with customers and get them trying out the product. And I always hesitate to discounting overall. You want to show that quality, and that's why I say the offers to try new products are more appealing to us.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited about the opportunity on subscription and having that direct to consumer sort of relationship that's so much more difficult with store shelves. And I'm hopeful that hopefully our subscribers, we can work out some sort of deal as well. So we can
do an affiliate marketing program here, Paul.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, we'll
do a promo code.
Exactly. Okay, so we got a question about a specific problem or product, I guess we'll call it, but it says, question from my wife, any products available now or in the pipeline for teenagers pre and post menstrual?
Sure. Actually, in the pipeline right now and in the market is the daily iron plus organic spirulina. The number one reason why women lose energy is menstrual cycle. That's the top energy depleter. It reduces, brain function. I always say to people, it's not just exhaustion. It's usually you don't have oxygen coming to your brain. So for children or for teenagers, teenagers are developing. I always talk about this actually with men. Men have higher muscles, they're bigger muscles. They burn through B vitamins. B vitamins are your energy. I call them your boost. So for teenagers, I always encourage a B complex. We have the Vitality Time Release B complex plus C. So what that provides for a teenager is it's going to fuel their body, their growth, their mind development, energy, and that C is that care component. The vitamin C cares for your body, your immunity, and then you can bring in products like I say, the daily iron for anyone who's deficient. And the other one is teenagers go through a lot of stress and sleep issues. There's a lot of pressures on them, and so again, we look at the sleep stress category. We've introduced the magnesium and chamomile tea, which is a powder. So again, a nice way to start healthy bedtime routines, even with teenagers, is to have a warm cup of tea, which is very calming to the body and the mind. It's actually also a time that you can bond with your child and hear what's been happening in their day. So a mom and a dad, can have that tea with anything from a child age 3 and up to teenagers. And one of the other products that we see huge growth in the teenagers is our Relax Plus, especially the later teens are going through a lot of stress. And Relax has a unique product in it called Cramp Bark. And it's exactly what it says. It's like your body's tense. The Cramp Bark just releases it. So jaw tension, tightness in the body. If you think of teenagers, they get a lot of cramping in their stomachs and their shaking of the hands. And that's just stress. So, could sit here and do product recommendations all day for people. We do it at the consumer trade shows, which I miss doing. And we also have a team of holistic nutritionists on staff and a naturopathic doctor. And that's part of what they do is help support people. But that's why I say for a teenage girl, I would 100% get them on a multi or a daily iron. And if they have stress, start taking a magnesium and chamomile. That'll be very beneficial to them.
Yeah, you know what? We've actually started using magnesium and chamomile for one of our sons who's been having problems going to sleep, and I can attest to it. It's actually working wonders. So brand new product.
That's great to hear. Yeah. It's actually my middle brother. I don't work with him, but his daughter is the reason that product exists. So we look at, when we talk about it's a, family-led business, is my middle brother said to me, my daughter is having a really challenging time sleeping. Is there anything that you could recommend or do or create? And so we came up with that product formula based on my niece because she was having stress at nighttime as a 7-year-old trying to sleep. Just like, and I said to her, you don't have stress or anxiety, sweetheart. You have basically butterflies in your tummy. You're thinking about things, and on the label, our designer actually listened to the story, and you see a butterfly there. And that's why I say really that connection of understanding family and what the customer needs are come from being a female leader in this industry. And that's, caring enough that product works for someone in my family, and we developed it. And then like you see in your own household, Paul, how well it's working for your son. So that's why we see that as a very successful product in the future for families.
Mm-hmm. And I actually, I can't stress how important it is that you touched on it, and I didn't even realize it when I first talking to you, but having a woman lead a business opportunity like this really ties into what I see at my home. And my wife does make all those decisions. And she's bought the new products. I'm not out there thinking of these sort of things. She does. And I think it's very refreshing to be able to have the sort of understand that mindset and have somebody who, obviously lives it as well. So I think that's a big key difference between you guys and a lot of the other companies out there.
I think it's been part of our success in terms of our current products. You mentioned how do we stay on the shelves is understanding that customer. And I think, we've really have taken to understanding the customer first. If you understand your customer, the success will come. And that's really the way that I look at it. I don't get to go to a dinner or a barbecue or anything without discussing vitamins and supplements, and that's men and women. So I think it's, again, we want to be healthy, and we think about the people we love the most when we're standing there at the shelf. How do we help them? How do we stay healthy? And I think that's why I say natural health is connecting. And we're going to do a better job in continuing to connect with the customer to grow vitality.
Yeah, perfect. We got one last question from the listener. Is your contract manufacturer organic certified?
In terms of our contract manufacturer, they're certified, and basically, yes, I should say they are. They can create organic products. They're halal certified, kosher. So basically, whenever we go to a production line, it's a requirement to determine what we want to do within our contract manufacturer, and then we're able to move from there. It's just the type of product that you're producing is what will allow for it to be organic certified or not. It has to be, usually it's only single ingredients that are allowed to be in the natural health space considered a fully organic ingredient. Otherwise, it's a challenge. But yes, we have that ability for any of those types of certifications.
Perfect. Okay, so before I leave with, allow you to sort of leave with a parting message, as investors, what should investors sort of keep an eye out for? What kind of metrics or what kind of things should we watch out for to show that you guys are successfully executing in your business plan?
Definitely. I think, I've provided you with a couple links to our websites there. I think one of the first things I'd say is, I talked a couple of our metrics of success around the online space. Is an easy one to be watching for. It is obviously on vitality.ca will be very fast feedback to the growth that we're talking about. But one of the things that you'll start to see, as I mentioned, is that sales growth. We're really targeting for what will be Q3, Q4 results. We're right now finishing up. We're just at the start of our Q1, starts on February 1. So we're just at the start of our fiscal year, and we will be bringing in a lot of these digital marketing, the retail sales. We're hopeful COVID as well will allow us to get back in and really make an impact at the retail. So that's why I say the number one thing you can see is, within the website itself, and sign up for our consumer announcements. You can be connected to how we're connecting with our customers. You can be connected to us as investors, and we're going to do a much better job in the next few months in terms of communicating what we're up to in the business. And that's why I say those will be the first few things, and then you'll start to see it come through on the financial reports.
Mm-hmm. Now, have I missed anything that we should have talked about?
I should actually mention the share price. If we're doing a good job, you'll see the share price go up, and that's what I would be remiss not to say that. And I think you've already seen that in the last couple of days. As Vitality, one of our investors from October said to me, Cheryl, you're a hidden gem. You're kind of hidden behind a curtain. It's time for you guys to come out and talk about what you're doing. And being on Small Cap Discoveries is obviously a big part of that. So, we've seen our share price. We talked about the subscription of our private placement being 17 cents with a 25-cent warrant, and we haven't even completed the private placement. And our stock quickly moved up to all the way up to 39.5 cents last week, and is just over around the 30-cent range. So it's another big metric for those watching, is you're going to see the share price start to represent what we're doing here in Vitality in the future, and what we're seeing in other companies. Vitality does not match what others are seeing in their share value and market cap, because we needed to do a better job about talking about what we're doing and our ongoing growth, new product introduction, as well as innovation and leadership that we're going to start to show here in digital. I think you'll start to see.
Well, certainly a good start right now. Is there any key message or key takeaway you want our listeners to leave with today?
I think the number one thing is that, Vitality, as I mentioned, is a growth company in a growth industry. This is a really exciting time for us. It's a great foundation that we have right now, 70% gross margins on our products, year-over-year sales growth, and we've just doubled our product line and have yet to enter into the United States in an impactful way. So I think what you'll see from Vitality is a lot of exciting news and announcements to come.
Fantastic. Now, if somebody wants more information, give us your website address again.
Of course, they can go to investinvitality.com and you can sign up for a subscriber there. And also you can feel free to reach out direct to Vitality at investors@vitality.ca, and those come direct to me, and I'm very happy to have a phone call or an email exchange.
Excellent. We are speaking today with Cheryl Grant, CEO of Vitality Products. Cheryl, I want to thank you. These are exciting times. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Paul.